It's time for fantasy football semi-pros. Let's do it.
You ready? You got me running.
Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football Semi-Pros. I'm Brandon. With me again is Ryan. Ryan, how are you today?
What up? Busy, man. Busy. Sam's Club, Lowe's, laying mulch, mowing grass, laying down some grass seed, watering the grass seed, filling in some holes my dog dug up. Oh, man. It's been a busy morning. I tell you what. It's been a busy day, busy weekend. But good. I'm doing good. How about you? How are you today?
I'm good. I don't have as much going on, but
Yeah, home ownership is a bummer sometimes.
I believe it. So, we're back for our first episode today, and we're going to break down the last 6 wide receivers that we have on our list. And if you ask me, I think overall this was actually a very good list of wide receivers, this group right here.
Yeah, there's one I didn't get a whole lot of notes on. Jalen Tolbert. I think there's only one game.
Yeah, Jalen Tolbert, but we'll get to him later. He's our third one down the list. So we're gonna start with I think who we both have as our number one wide receiver on the draft board.
I love this guy.
It's Drake London out of USC.
I say love, like not romantically or anything. I just love that. I love his skill set as a wide receiver. Big, strong, talent, just all across the board.
This guy, he is a true athlete. He was a forward for the USC basketball team for a while.
I believe it, man. He's got great speed, great quickness, and his size. I mean, his size is what makes him stand out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with all the other assets that he has, if he's not as tall, not as big, he's just an average receiver.
This guy, like the best thing I can use to explain him is he is a competitor.
Yeah, he plays hard.
Every sense of the word.
Every single snap. This guy, Drake London does not take a snap off.
Yeah, does not take plays off, always trying to block well or sell fakes.
Yeah, we see a lot of these guys. Jamison Williams is a big example of plays not coming to me, I'm taking it off. I'm not even going to try to run this cornerback off in case Brian Robinson breaks a big play down the middle and bounces outside. No, this guy goes hard every single play. It's maximum effort every single snap. Man, like you said, he's downfield blocking, and he's with his size, he's a good blocker.
Oh yeah,
he can block really well.
He's physical. No matter where he is, no matter what he's doing, he is not shying away from contact.
No, and the great thing is about this kid is he uses. It's not just the size that makes him like just stand out. The guy catches everything. I didn't see one drop.
Yeah, not only is he good with contested catches, he's a deep threat as well.
Yeah, because he's got great speed.
Yeah.
He's really fast. Calvin Johnson 2.0 maybe? I don't know.
He's great at high pointing the ball. He's a deep threat. And the only thing I have against him is he doesn't always get a lot of separation, but that's not his game.
He doesn't need it.
He's that box him out, let's go up and get the ball type guy.
Like, again, he's a physical player. Physical.
The only reason I'd be hesitant to draft Drake London number one receiver, not the injury that he suffered.
Was that an ACL as well?
It depends on who his quarterback is.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's those quarterbacks out there who do not like to throw it into coverage.
Yeah,
they do
right.
not like to throw it up to these jump ball, go get them guys.
Well, if you got Patrick Mahomes, he'll throw it anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Is he gonna fall that far? I got 2 notes on Drake London, and I say best athlete at the wide receiver position group in this class.
Yeah.
And then I also have another one that says best wide receiver in this class. So, I mean, I think that says it enough. If I can get him anywhere in the first round in a draft, I'm taking him.
Yeah.
If you take him 1.1 in a dynasty draft, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. But you bring up a good point. Where does he land?
Who's his quarterback?
And who's the quarterback there? Yeah.
Like, because one of the knocks for I think like Kenny Galladay wasn't useful this year was Daniel Jones just doesn't like to throw it up like that.
No, and Daniel, well, I think Kenny Galladay's gotten the short end of the stick, especially the dude's been battling injuries his entire career, so that doesn't help his case. But he's a good athlete. I mean,
but that's the kind of thing I'm saying. Like, if he were to go to like the Giants, I may not be taking him number
right?
one.
No, that's fair. That's
He might
fair.
drop 3 or 4 on my list.
Mm-hmm.
But if he goes to like someone like Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers,
San Francisco.
I don't foresee him going to San Francisco.
We don't know what they're gonna do. We don't know what any of these teams are gonna do.
He could end up with Marcus Mariota and the Falcons.
Oh God, we've seen. Listen, now we've seen the Bengals have needs at many different positions, and then they don't even address it in the draft. So we don't know what these teams are gonna do.
Yeah, this guy, he might be the biggest athlete, the best athlete out there.
I think and I know I have said best athlete at wide receiver in this class. I haven't watched all the running backs. I haven't watched all the tight ends yet. So I can't say that for sure, but I will take your word for it.
Well, I haven't gotten past running backs yet, but he's the most physical athlete out there that I've seen so far.
Yeah, this guy, he's an all-around player, all-around team player. And yeah, I know if I'm a GM of a team or a head coach of a team, that's what I want on my roster. That's what I want for my next big star. But again, where does he go? How is he utilized? But again, yeah, I still think, even with the ACL injury, man, there's only a few teams, maybe 3 or 4 teams I would not take if he ends up.
I don't think it
with
was
one
an
of those 4
ACL
teams.
injury. I think it was like a broken ankle or something. I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but there's only like a handful of teams. Yeah, if he goes to the Giants, I wouldn't take him 1-1, but I would certainly take him 1-2 if I had it. So.
All right. Well, our next receiver on this list. This is the guy who I have ranked number 2, and this is the guy that a lot of people have argued that could be the number 1 receiver, because he might have he might be the closer to the sure thing, more scheme proof, and it's Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State.
And the weird thing about Garrett Wilson is Chris Olave was the one everyone was talking about going into the season. And then in the middle of the season, it was Jackson Smith and
Jackson Smith and Jigba,
Jigba.
Which I think Olave was actually the 3rd best receiver on that team.
Yeah, and I think Garrett Wilson, man, this guy is he's another all-around solid athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And he can be used as a kick and punt returner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that brings some value in fantasy football.
Garrett Wilson, what I have about him is he gets very good separation on his routes.
Oh, yeah, he's so explosive.
He is good at making people miss after the catch.
No, I do have this. He'll
Actually, I have elite at making people miss after the catch.
Yeah, man, yeah, dude. In open field, just forget about it. It's Tyreek Hill-ish, Tyreek Hill-esque, I would say. He's got great speed, makes people miss. He's got really good lateral movement that helps with making people miss. So his cuts and
great burst, great acceleration, and change of direction.
And he doesn't drop anything.
So that one actually I have. He had some drops due to concentration, but he's typically sure-handed.
Maybe we watched different films because there was 8 games.
I know
on him.
you said you watched about 3. I think I watched all of them early on, and he was one of the guys I looked at early on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have enough time to watch 8.
Basically,
if this was my job, yes, I can watch game film all day, and I can give you a better.
Basically, his drops came when he was expecting to get hit.
Yeah, he's a little bit small. I said I haven't know he'll be a very solid number 2 wide receiver in the NFL. I don't think he'll ever be a true number 1 though.
Yeah. And one of the notes about him, like we mentioned this, and I know it doesn't go into fantasy points, but he's not a great blocker, but he does put the effort into it.
He tries to get in the way.
Yeah.
But that's not his game.
And at Ohio State, he took at least 1 handoff a game, mostly on sweeps.
I did not know that.
So he's got potential to be used in more than just a pass catching capacity.
And a big thing here that I said was on short routes, he has very great ball carrier vision, almost like a running back. Like he can read the blocks well downfield. And that's huge. I think that's huge, and especially in PPR leagues, yards after the catch. It's just going to help your team. But I would agree with you. 1-2, 1-3.
Yeah.
I think he's the number 2 or 3 wide receiver. At worst, the number 3.
I think a while back, a couple weeks ago, I texted you because in our Dynasty in the Making league, it's a 1 quarterback Dynasty league.
So boring.
I got it. It is a little bit, but it's nice having one of those in there.
Yeah, you have to, I think.
But I got his 101, and I had the 104. And I texted him, I was like, I'm going to have some combination of Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker, Drake London, and Garrett Wilson. And I'm not going to be mad whichever two of those I get.
I want Drake London. I need help at every position group there, so we'll see how this one goes.
All right, yeah, but I mean, Garrett Wilson, a lot of people think he's going to be a more surefire thing than Drake London, but I think Drake London has the higher upside of the two.
I think Wilson higher floor. London still has a high floor, but even a higher ceiling.
Yep. All right, our next player that we're going to go over, Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama.
USA.
And I remember when we were putting in his numbers, he had good numbers.
Oh, yeah, like double-digit receptions almost every game.
But the thing is, he plays for South Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, what is that, Conference USA?
Something like that. And there was only one game that we had on film of him, so I did kind of supplement this with what I was seeing from other people on this. He has the speed to be a vertical threat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he's very explosive. I did notice separation at line of scrimmage, hit or miss, but he's able to use acceleration on those deep routes to get away from people. So
he does sometimes rounds off his routes though as well.
Yeah, and I have fluid, smooth route runner, but lazy sometimes. And I think that's the perfect way to.
He tracks the ball well down the field, and he lines up at each wide receiver position. Yeah, it's not just the one.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4. He'll be on the slide. He'll be on the outside. It doesn't really matter. And he's got great hands in traffic.
Now,
concentration is not really a big issue.
Going back to the hands, actually, this is one thing that I've read on multiple profiles of him. Is he does need to improve on making simple catches. He has those concentration drops where it's just he takes his eyes off, or he's not fully committed.
And I apologize, like you said, we had one game, and I didn't see that in the film that we had. But hey, man, I mean, we can say that about every wide receiver at some point, right?
Yep. So our next receiver we have.
Hold on. Oh, we gotta tell him where we're going. I'm not done with him. Because,
you're not done with Tolbert?
No, Tolbert is he's a smart player, and he does really well reading zone defenses and finding open areas there. Knowing that he will line up outside, inside, your slot receivers are usually the guys going inside, right? That's just how it works. So that makes him really valuable there, being able to find the zone in the middle of the field. And this kid is physical. He's pretty physical. He does block downfield for his teammates, and he's not afraid of contact. Okay. But I mean, Tolbert at best is a for me
round 3 flyer probably.
Yeah, I would say late second to third round at best.
Yeah, I think I have him ranked as my 16th best, and I think I actually would drop him below Alec Pierce.
He has the numbers, but
yeah. And I think that's why I was really high on him coming in, just because I remember him putting good numbers for him. All right. So our next receiver, this is a guy, I didn't want to like him.
Because he's from UK? Not
just that, like, he's 5'8". He's not big.
No.
But Wan'Dale Robinson. This kid, I started watching his film, and my first thought is, this guy looks more like a running back. And then I go start doing more research. He was actually recruited to Nebraska as a running back, and then transitioned to wide receiver. Yeah, dude, this kid is explosive. He was fun to watch.
Yeah, he definitely. It's a show on turf, that's for sure. He's super quick, extremely explosive. He's Rondell Moore, but way faster.
He has great jumping ability.
Did you hear that reference? He's Rondell Moore, but way faster.
Yeah. And I think his best thing is going to be when he gets the ball in space.
Yeah, but he does catch well in traffic.
He's going to be that guy who needs the creative offensive mind.
So like a Cardinals, Arizona, or Kansas City?
I was thinking Kansas City, probably, yeah. Like he's got great. His route running has room for improvement. That is one knock I did have against him.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's great when he has the ball in space. He makes people miss. He looks like a running back.
He's an explosive playmaker. We'll just put it
Shanahan
that
could
way.
be a good spot. The 49ers,
Oh,
or
yeah.
maybe even Miami's kind of full up, but
I wouldn't want to see him in Miami, but
and that's one of the things I have on here. Landing spot's going to affect him a lot.
absolutely, because he's going to
And-
be a scheme player because of his size.
Yeah, like I said, he's 5'8", and that's one of the things I have on him is he's smaller, so he does struggle with the off-target throws.
Mm-hmm.
But when you watch him, he is not afraid to go up there and lay his body on the line to get it.
No, I said he's not afraid of contact, and after he gets the ball, he fights for extra yards.
Yeah.
He's not going to just take the ball and run out of bounds.
Now, I really want to draft him, but in the end, my mind, like that's the heart speaking.
right.
My mind's saying 5'8" receivers, they don't pan out.
I mean, look at Edelman. He did okay, but I don't know if he was fantasy relevant.
I don't think I think Edelman was taller than 5'8". So I heard this the other day.
Maybe.
There's been like 3 receivers that have actually been good that were 5'8" or shorter. Wes Welker,
Mm-hmm.
Cole Beasley,
Mm-hmm.
and Jamison Crowder. And really only one of those, Wes Welker, had 1 year where he was a wide receiver 1 for fantasy.
Wow.
So in the end, I think I'm probably avoiding him, even though I loved his tape.
I think he would be better in a super flex league where you just might need that explosive guy that could put up a bunch of points.
Like I said, if he gets used kind of like a hybrid like Deebo Samuel, I think he could have a very valid role.
I know that he would be used well in the slot or from a third down change of pace back.
Which
Catch
the crazy
ball
thing
out
is,
of the backfield.
like we talked about how versatile this kid is.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Nebraska, where it's probably the most vanilla offense out there.
I form, run the ball up the middle. Okay, play action, throw it. Yeah, I don't know.
like I said, I really want to like this guy. I really like him.
So he went to Nebraska, but he transferred to UK.
Yeah.
Kentucky. So Wandale Robinson.
I like him, but
W-A-N-apostrophe-D-A-L-E.
I'm probably not
I'm
drafting him.
I'm avoiding him in the draft. If he's available after the draft, yeah, go put in a claim for him. Who knows what happened? I think Alvin Kamara went undrafted in our one league that 1 year.
In our keeper league, yeah.
In
But
our
that was
keeper
almost
league.
everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think anybody knew who Alvin Kamara was.
Well, we weren't in the Dynasty at that point in time.
That's fair.
Otherwise, we probably would have. But, yeah. I like him, but I don't think he's... In the end, I kind of look at Dynasty like poker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for the better odds.
Right.
Wanda Robinson's like having pocket threes. You got a chance to win, but the odds are very low.
You would need another 3.
So, and yeah, I don't have much more to say on him.
No, I mean, yeah, he's super fun to watch, but yeah, I'm avoiding him in drafts just because of his size. But yeah, I would not be surprised if he's good for a year or 2.
Yeah. So the next person, this is somebody who's had a lot of stock. His stock has risen a lot lately. We only have 1 game on him,
I wasn't impressed though.
but Sky Moore out of Western Michigan.
And that's another MAC conference school, and we know Antonio Brown came out of the MAC, but who else has came out of the MAC?
One of the things I want to mention about this kid is he's an athlete.
Yeah,
He was
good
actually
athlete.
recruited as a 2-way athlete. He was recruited as a quarterback and DB. And he has very good ball skills and good body awareness around the sideline. Like you could see him making those sideline catches.
Oh yeah, I said he's sure-handed. So
Mm-hmm.
from the 1 game film that we saw, and he's
Now-
tough.
And you mentioned like you're not a huge fan of him yet. He's only had 3 years at the position.
Yeah, I said, but he's got above average speed. It wasn't like
Mhm.
he was just leaving people in the dust on deep routes or anything. But he's a strictly a hustle player. He catches well over the middle.
I have him as a good receiver with upside, and if he's a day 2 pick, he's definitely someone I'm looking at, maybe mid to late second.
I'm gonna avoid him and only invest a 3rd round at best on Sky
Mhm.
Moore out of Western Michigan. But I
No.
mean, he's a solid athlete for sure.
And he ran all types of routes, so that's a good sign on him. Like he's actually very well versed in the route running.
Yeah, and
And I actually have him as my 12th best receiver right now.
I wouldn't put him that high.
Fair.
I'm sorry. It's just that's just how I look at it.
And we're not always going to agree. And that we've had this conversation with Brian Robinson, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah. Today, actually.
Yep. But I like Sky Moore. I'm willing to take the shot on mid to late second. I know you said third.
Does he pocket eights for you?
I haven't gotten to that analogy that far into it. I just thought it was good for Wandale.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying he's not a great athlete. I just don't know how well he'll do at the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because he's playing against MAC competition, man. I mean, I love the
I
MAC.
think receivers,
I love MACtion.
Receivers a little bit easier to transition from those smaller schools than other positions.
Yeah, I guess Cooper Cup. Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and move on to the next player and the last wide receiver we have on this list.
Yep.
And that is Calvin Austin III out of Memphis. I mentioned Wandale Robinson's a pair of threes. Calvin Austin might be a pair of twos. And I've heard comps, like he has some similar traits to Tyreek Hill. But the other thing is, he's 5'8" as well.
Yeah, and I was impressed with his game film because he's explosive, man. This dude is fast. He's speedy and he's elusive. He can make people miss.
And he's a good route runner.
Yeah, he's a solid route runner.
Thing is, he's a walk-on to Memphis.
But
he was actually recruited as a track athlete.
And anytime this kid gets the ball in his hands, he's a touchdown threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because of his speed and everything, the intangibles that you just can't find. But
he is undersized.
the size really worried me.
And that's what I was talking about. Like,
And he doesn't do well against the zone.
yeah, his size, he's probably the reason. If I'm taking a shot on him, it's late third.
Yeah, I have him in my third too. I have him in my top or my last.
I'm not saying he's a bad player, but similar to Wandale, he is a very good college football player.
Right, and I just think there's 15 other receivers in this class that are better.
One thing I did note on him though, he is very good with his ability to improvise when the QB has to scramble.
Yes, the scramble drill's good, but when it's just QB in the pocket and he's running against zone coverage, he's not. I don't know if he's really looking for the open space, if that makes sense. He's just kind of glued to his route, and that's about it. But yeah, I mean, Calvin Austin, again, like the Wandale Moore, sorry.
Wandale Robinson.
Wandale Robinson. Wow, man. Anyway, yeah, again, their size is what.
It's what's going to hurt them in this next level.
And they may be great players, but they're going to be role players of some sort at the next level, and they're not going to be a number one wide receiver for any team.
In the end, they may be better NFL players than fantasy players.
Right. And that's the hard thing. They might be better for their team and their roster spot, but they might not help you points-wise.
They could have that potential prospect of being a return man, which that in itself could be a huge position.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, depending on how your league scores kick returns.
Well, not only that, that means they're going to see the field at some point.
Right.
They're going to be on a roster. So sometimes these young guys, these are guys, if I draft them, they're probably sitting on my taxi squad early on for a year or two.
Yeah, that's what I had for Wandale Robinson, taxi squad. Who's another one? Oh, Sky Moore. Actually, all three of these have taxi squad on them.
Like I said, overall, this group that we've talked about, I think that they're solid. They're good. They were fun to watch.
Oh yeah, the film on these guys was pretty impressive, but you have to think bigger picture, and like you said, you can't go with your heart on these decisions.
Yeah, and that is the hardest thing about fantasy football, and you do it all the time.
Yeah, I like this guy. I'm gonna put him on I'm gonna try to get him on my team, and I'm gonna overpay for him, and he doesn't produce.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray, yeah.
It's hard to separate, and that's the beauty about fantasy football. Is you're gonna have those guys where you have that soft spot for. You're gonna have them on your team, almost no matter what, and then you're gonna have those guys that you avoid no matter what.
Yeah.
But in
Baker
the end,
Mayfield.
you gotta try to separate that. I can't take this player or
That
I have to have
bias.
this player.
Yeah, you have to.
And you
set your
guys look at it
ego-
somewhat analytically too.
Yeah, you have to set your ego aside. You just have to, and that's so hard. Yeah, that's hard. It's hard for me to do. That's for
Oh
sure.
yeah, you said it yourself early on. It's like you're more of a you trust your gut, and while I do trust my gut in there, I also say, okay, what do the numbers say? What can I learn from looking at this?
That's fair.
And
Absolutely fair.
that's what we're trying to do here. This is why we say watch the film,
Mhm.
even if it's a game or two.
Get a feel.
Get a feel for the guy, because you could talk to 5 different people and have 5 different interpretations on how somebody plays.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So find someone that you kind of trust, listen to them. Like I said, I like to listen to multiple people and kind of listen to what they say
I don't.
and kind of watch what the player does.
I go by the eye test personally.
Fair. But I know
See with my eye.
I'm still learning on that. So I'm starting to I'm trying to combine all of it together.
Yeah. I mean, I had to watch film in college and everything, because at our high school we were not good, so we did not watch film. It didn't matter if we did watch film anyway. But at the next level, I played D3, but we still watched film, and you learn how to break it down, and you learn how to pick things up. But yeah, the solid group of receivers in this draft class overall.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and to me, it's hard to really separate, 2 through 10. It's really hard to make that separation.
I wouldn't
Drake
say 2
London,
through 10, but
Drake London's my number 1.
I'd say about 5 through 10.
That's your interpretation.
I know. Like, I mean, I think Drake London, class by himself.
Right.
Wilson, second tier. And then Burks, Jameson, Williams. So I go top 4. But
Chris Olave.
Olave, I'm still not entirely sold on.
That's okay.
But that's all we've got for this episode. Trying to keep it short and sweet. Only 30 minutes on these.
Yeah, I think we need to keep it around 30.
At least for these. It's a little harder to do that in season. But
I
we'll talk
can't-
about that more.
Man, I can't
ourselves.
listen to things for an hour. Just my brain just turns off.
But thank you guys for tuning in. Like and share us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter.
Twitch related, we'll be back in about 15 minutes in covering running back group 1.
We'll be covering our first group of running backs. And you guys have a good day.
Deuces.